Right, so time to clean this engine up a bit. It is currently absolutely, completely and utterly caked in oil. So yeah, let's address the front timing cover first. I have all the guides and everything out, check them, they're all good. I've cleaned them all up. So now it's time to use the professional parts washing tray, which is a Pinto sump. Still with the cork gasket on for added authenticity. But yeah, I have some old dirty petrol and I'm gonna start giving this a bit of a clean up. Right, so I got the good lady to go and get some paintbrushes when she was in doing the shopping. So paintbrushes and petrol definitely helped that. I really need to get myself a parts washer, so if any kind person wants to sponsor me one, that'll be excellent. If you don't try, you don't get. Yeah, I need a parts washer at some point, so I need to start looking at one of those. I'm constantly finding myself flipping using copious amounts of brake cleaner and all that carry on, and yeah, it costs a lot of money these days. So parts washer, I think, is probably the next thing on the list for the workshop. Anyway, that's that done. Now I need to bring the seat over and clean all this stuff off, cover up the timing gear and stuff first, and then yeah, get this all cleaned down. Then I can start painting, fitting this all up, putting new gaskets on, new seals in this cover and all that carry on, and then we'll be good to go. So that's a lot better than it once was. Still a few wee bits to clean up, but I'm out of brake cleaner as per usual. So I'll get this all cleaned up, finish it off. I can pull this out of the way now. I need to take all the old gasket off in there. And this could be fun because I think the chain has to come off to get the gasket in. Anyway, I'll work that out in a minute. Yeah, it probably does have to come off looking at that. Unless it can feed up in. I think it's... this is it here. It might actually go up in, might be able to feed it up in through the back. So I'll have a go at that now. I'll catch up in a minute. Right, so I was able to get the gasket slid around over the top, behind the chains and stuff. So yeah, it is time now to get a little bit of gasket sealer, nothing much, just a tiny wee smear along this face. I didn't want to put gasket sealer on the gasket before I put it in. A, because I would get plastered, and B, because I didn't know if it would fit. So yeah, I'll do that now, and then should be good to go to put this timing cover back on. Right, so just triple checking everything. I have this guide now back in. These teeth, number 1 and number 2 are pointing to each other. Number 3 and number 4 are also pointing to each other. This is pointing straight up and down, so therefore it's TDC. Yeah, nothing's moved, so in my eyes she's timed up. Now I have to try and foot her about and get this stupid design of a timing cover up in around these 2 chains here. Wish me luck. Now then, this is the bit that I struggled taking out. However, I struggled taking it out because I didn't have the tensioners out, so let's all hope that this just cooperates for me. So that's probably meant to go to that, and that's meant to go, that chain's meant to go up the middle of that somehow. There's a couple of dials on the head on each side that are just causing me difficulty. Need to clean these things up now before I put them in. They're all plastered in oil. All right then, so finish off tonight with a bit of beautification of the crank pulley all painted up. Can't remember if I showed you this or not yet, but that's all on. Flipping Burton Power comprehensive super duper most expensive gasket set doesn't have the friggin' chain tensioner gaskets in it, so I've had to order those. Could have made them, but there's a couple of wee complex holes and stuff in them that I just fancied just buying the right ones for the sake of £2, £4, £2 each. Have these all on, primed as well, blasted and primed. So yeah. Next night I'm out, get these into gloss black. Picking up the rocker covers, inlet, all that stuff on Monday. So I'll get it back and get it all epoxied and into paint. I have aerosols and tins of all the paint stuff up there, so that'll be next. A bit more beautifications. Once those gaskets arrive, I would like to turn the engine over a couple of times by hand, or that way even, just to make sure that all the timing stuff is right before I start putting the water pump and all that good stuff on at the front here. No point in doing it if it's out of tooth. I'm 99.9999% sure it's not out of tooth because everything still lines up perfectly, but I just want to double check. So anyway, catch you the next night. I'm going to bed. Right, so time to get these into colour. I've chosen, customer give me free rein, which is a bad idea, but I've chosen to do this body colour for the rocker covers and then a bright silver for the inlet manifold. So let's see how this turns out. Ooh, it's nice. It's very windy here with this door open, I must say. Might shut the door. Back in a minute. Right, better. Not better for ventilation, but definitely better for application. It rhymes. And I'll do this end first, because then I can turn it around. Give it a very light coat sort of first. Yeah, that'll do for a first coat, I think. He says as he continues to put a wet coat on. Yeah, that'll do for first one. Alright, so covers painted, just set on there, mainly to keep them safe and to stop them the engine getting dirty. I had got cloths over it until now, so all the other stuff is all fully painted up over here. All the pulleys and brackets and tensioner wheels and stuff, coil pack bracket, the alternator mount, all that sort of stuff. I have to clean up these fans, and the fan housing needs painted. However, come across an issue. Exhaust manifold. Who in their right mind at Ford decided that one manifold should have this and one manifold should have that? Of course, I don't have the downpipes with this conversion. I only have the manifolds. I'm going to have to maybe get a CAD drawing made up of these and send them away for laser cutting. And then I can weld a bit of pipe into it, weld a V-band on it, and make an adapter to V-band for both of them. And then I can, once it's in the car, adapt the downpipes to V-band and just make a bit of section of downpipe. They're stainless steel exhaust, so it'll have to be stainless steel flanges that get cut. And yeah, as a byproduct, I might end up selling them over on the website if I get enough cut. I'll see. I have another BOB to do in the next month or so. I'm gonna get finally stuck into that thing up in the lift. Yeah, so once this one's knocked out, Capri's going, and I'm not taking any more cars in. That's being done. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna keep painting, keep working away. The wiring loom is being fitted, hopefully, what day is today? Tuesday, Thursday. So wiring loom, I can't put any of this together until I get the loom in because it goes underneath the valley. So I'll do all that, paint up the block, paint up the, I might paint the water pump in front end and stuff here, I haven't decided yet, and go from there. Just to show the benefits of using one of these in automotive / engineering work. So, in case you're not familiar with one of these, this is a 3D scanner, and I think I've just pushed the button to start scanning. No, I haven't, right. 3D scanner. This is the Creality Raptor X, very good one. And I just want to show you the benefits of how quickly you can reverse engineer something that is no longer made. For instance, exhaust. So, this is an exhaust manifold from a BOB Cosworth. And Ford / Cosworth / whoever did it, Ford's badge is on it, so I'll blame them, have put a stupid triangular 3-hole lug on this manifold. And they've put a 4-hole, not quite square rectangle thing with curves and all in it on the other side. So, don't believe you can get these anywhere. I've rang the motor factors, I can't even get the gaskets. So I'm going to have to CAD these up. Now, as much as that isn't a very laborious job for just drawing it up off measurements, I have the scanner, I want to play with it and show you what it can do. So, let's take a very quick and dirty scan of this, and then we shall import it into Fusion and have a play. There we go. Right, so let's see if this is going to do anything for me. Complete scan, yes. That looks pretty good. I only need the flange. So I can get rid of the rest of it. That simplifies things for me. Then I go one click process, next. Don't know if you can hear the birdies, but I have a robin's nest on my top shelf. And every time I make noise, they start tweeting thinking I'm their mum coming. Anyway, there is a scan. So you can see it on the computer there. All I should have to do now is put this into CAD, create a mesh section sketch, and it should hopefully do it all for me. So I went ahead and did the other one as well. So this is a scan, which is quite unbelievable to me. Obviously I didn't finish the scan, I only did a wee bit of it just to get the flange, but like that is, yeah. It still amuses me. Yeah, right, I'll trim this all down now and just take the flange and away we go. Right, so I went back and redid the scan because I was not happy with how it was turning out. But yeah, now that's obviously just the flange. I did just delete everything. I did do the whole manifold, but I've just deleted that because I don't need it. So I'll import this into CAD and see what it looks like. Right, so that's it imported into CAD. If I turn the body off, you can now see the sketch. So technically, I finish the sketch, E for extrude, do that. Yes, I'll do that whole later. That was a bit of a different one because it was a stud. Yeah, there's a stud sticking out of it. But yeah, right, let me have two hands, I'll show you in a minute. Right, so there we have it. There is one of the flanges done. There's the other one done, you've already seen it I think. But yeah, both of them's done, sorted. And I can now go off to a laser cutter and see how much he's gonna bend me over for a pair of these. Right, okay, so 1 and 2 are pointing to each other, 3 and 4 are pointing to each other. This was set up whenever I stripped the whole engine down, set to TDC. On the crank pulley down there, which I don't think you can see, it's set to TDC of the third mark to the left. So let's do a full rotation and see if it comes back to where it should be. Oh. Let's just move the engine. Hopefully the camera can still see it. One, two, three, four, all good. Happy days. Right, so that's all turned over now. You saw in the last clip there all the timing marks and everything's all perfectly good, thankfully. So now it's flipped upside down, as you might have noticed. It's time to have a look at the oil pump. I intend to take this oil pump off the engine. 2 bolts, 2 Torxes by the looks of it, T40s or something. And then there's a spring inside it with like a pressure regulating valve or a relief valve or something. And basically you take the cap out of the oil pressure or the oil pump and you put a couple of washers in between the spring and the cap. So that's next. I'm going to do that and try and uprate the pressure. Apparently it gives you a good lift of pressure from standard, and especially whenever the engine's at least 35 years old now, so yeah, let's get that done. Right, so to start with, oil pump on the bottom of the engine, obviously. If you don't know that, you shouldn't be doing this. Oil pump comes off with these two Torx bolts down in here. I think they're like a T50 or something, I need to double check. And once I get that off and get the pickup tube off, I'll show you what's next. Right, that's it up off. You can see the shaft there that it drives off down in there. So we'll have a look at that later. But for now, let's bring it over to the bench and get started. Right, so I've just pulled this out of the pickup. It's not magnetic. I don't know what it is, but this was in the inside there to copy the screen. I don't see anything else in there, so yeah. There was no chunks out of any of the timing guides. There was no bits that I could physically see. It just seems to be breaking up. It might be a bit of old gasket sealer. It's just crumbling in my hands here. So I'll leave it to the side anyway for now, and we'll get this pickup tube off and have a better look. Size are you 30 or 30? Okay. Don't know if I have a new gasket for this. I hope I do. Yeah, for the most part, it survived. Right. So, to operate the pressure on this pump, there is a spring in behind this bung. This just is a press-in bung. Now, there's a threaded hole in the middle of this one. I believe on some of the other ones, like Pintos and stuff, I think they're all pretty similar, the oil pumps. I believe it's a solid cap. You'd have to drill and tap it or whatever to get it out. But on this one, it's a solid bung with a threaded hole in it. So, to get this out, we need to screw a bolt into the middle of it and pull it up out, sort of thing. Then make some washers to the right diameter and put them in between the spring and the end cap. That puts more pressure in the spring and lifts the oil pressure. So let's get going. Right, so puller setup, socket, bolt, nut, washer. Thread this into the top of the threaded bung. Then simply use this and hope that wrong way. It's always the wrong way. I need to hold this by the looks of it. Yeah, I'm back here. So, here is the article in question. So, the plan is now, I think M8 washers are going to be too big to go in there. They are. So, I'll chuck a few of these up in a bolt and a nut and take them over to the lathe, knock them down a wee bit, and then they can slot into the back side of this thing here and yeah, do the job. All right, so I don't actually have to go to the lathe because I forgot that copper washers exist. So I now have one of those in. From what I've seen online, some people say put one in, some people say put two in. I think I'm going to hedge my bets and put two in and raise the pressure a good bit. I know Jordan over at Rough Restos, he stuck two in his and saw a considerable rise in pressure. So yeah, I hedge my bets and we'll stick two in. So let's just see how this is going to work. Not like that clearly, but right. That's it lined up. Lovely. That's a copper hammer, by the way, not just a hammer. So, happy days. That's that in smooth again. So hopefully, that's this pump operated at higher pressure and hopefully perform a little bit better. Right, so I did have a new gasket, thankfully, in the kit. And one thing I love about these DeWalt guns, and most modern guns now in all fairness, they have a screw tight or finger tight setting. So it just squeezes it up and no more. Means that I'm able to go and get the ratchet and do it by hand, and I know exactly what it's like. Sit down into the splines of the drive shaft. Click. Click. There we go, torqued. Okay, so that's it all put back together now. I need now to paint the block up. I need to clean the sump up, clean about 30 years of oil off it. And then I am good to go. Start building this thing back up properly. Probably a better look at the guides and stuff from this side. Now it's sort of half visible, but yeah. Tensioners and stuff are down in there, they're all clicked in. Need to change the oil pressure sensor, I have a new one of those. And I have a new water temperature sensor as well. But yeah, I'll do all that after I've painted it. I'll leave those in to see if the thread's in the block. So next point is probably going to be clean all this back, paint everything all up on the block, the sump, all that carry on. And then I can get it all reassembled for the final time. And finally throw it in. Right, so we're back up right way again. Sump is on properly. I'll gasket it up. Block painted black. About to put the water pump on. It's got gasket sealer sitting on it, setting a wee bit before I put it on here. Then once that's on, I'm going to maybe touch up bits and pieces of silver around the engine. So let's get the water pump on, then I can paint her up and start bolting things on for the last time. Alright, so one last step before I start putting gaskets in the rocker covers and stuff. That's them all cleaned out with brake cleaner and rag. I took this off to the baffle plate. It's like the PCV system. The vent goes up there. So the crankcase fumes must sort of go up this and then go out through the rubber. So I get this all put back together, get the face of it all cleaned up with brake cleaner. Then I can start thinking about gaskets. This one's just sitting here just to keep it safe, keep the engine clean. Once it's that done, I'm hit or miss. I don't know whether to paint it or not. I might. I quite like the standard look of it. Clean back, fresh aluminium, but yeah, I might clean it. Shall see. I might paint it even. Yeah, you don't really see much of it whenever everything's back on the front of it, all the alternator mounts and stuff like that, the fan belt, and you don't really see much of it, the inlet cover. In fact, you don't see any of that because coil pack sits at the front here from memory on a BOB. So, yeah, I don't think you'll see much at all whenever you have the covers and everything on, but I will see. So, manifolds still need to be painted silver. They're only in primer, but couldn't resist setting this all on to see what it's going to look like. Obviously the exhaust manifolds and stuff are going to be nicely painted too, sitting there. So yeah, I think it'll look pretty good. I think this is what the customer has been waiting for a very long time, this picture or video. So yeah, happy days. All right then, so engine update. Pulleys and everything's on, all this cradle and everything's on, tensioners on, this is just sitting here, but bracketry, all that stuff. This is just sitting here as well, just to check a few things. It needs to come out again to run the wires onto the valley. Everything's all painted up. I did give that a coat of silver last night. I think it definitely needed it. So quite happy with how that's coming. All I have to do really on the engine is to paint the inlet, which is currently in primer. And then I can start assembling it all again whenever I have the wiring in. Speaking of the wiring, taking shape. Loom is nearly there. Everything's all labelled and all that good stuff. Come on, focus. You can get the idea anyway. So yeah, everyone's all labelled, all that carry on. These in here are for the inside the valleys. This is all your injectors and all that good stuff in there. It's all ran inside the car. And these are in process of being terminated. So yeah, that's getting on pretty well. I'm going to end this video here, I think, because I just feel like it's going on quite a long time, to be honest. So I'll get this all wrapped up. In the next one, we'll get the engine set into the hole and first start. I promise it will be first start this time. So anyway, I'm going to catch you in the next one. I will see you then.